President Trump addressing the rules and topics for tonight's final debate as he rallies a North Carolina crowd.
I think the mute is very unfair, and I think it's very bad that they're not talking about foreign affairs. And I think that the anchor is a very biased person, but that's my life. In the meantime, that's the White House standing behind me, right?
So joining us now with what Americans need to hear from each candidate, Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall. Leslie, thanks as always for being here. We just heard what the president thinks about the debate, but what does each candidate need to do to come out on top tonight?
You know, this is great timing. I have an article coming out at 8 a.m. Eastern on foxnews.com with this exact list of what Biden actually, because I'm the Democrat here, needs to do. For both, the president needs to be presidential. He needs to talk policy. He came out in performance and policy under Biden in most polls after the first debate, which most people thought was a hot mess. And he has to talk about what he'll do different going forward regarding COVID-19. Joe Biden, the former vice president, he does not need to get down in the mud with President Trump. He had called him a clown, told him to shut up. He shouldn't do that. He should be prepared to answer about his son Hunter. He should be prepared to talk about the 94 crime bill, and he should highlight the differences between him and the president in policy and governing style and point out the failures of the president's administration or broken promises from 2016 to present.
Leslie, let's take a look at these debate topics, and we'll pull them up on the screen here. I'll be curious to see if Kristen Welker, the moderator, brings up the Hunter Biden alleged emails. We know that the president most likely will. I think I'm making a pretty good assumption there. My question to you is, though, the idea of this mute button. Where do you stand on this?
I think, sadly, the first debate shows that it's needed. I mean, this is an election and most people have already made up their mind. Millions of people have already voted. So the sliver of undecided voters that may tune in to have their minds changed either by the president or by the former vice president, they need to be able to hear the answers to the questions and not watch two men acting like petulant children and constantly interrupting each other. It doesn't help anybody. You can't hear, and voters have a right to hear answers to the question and what policies these two men have, what is the way forward to get COVID-19 in the rearview mirror, and how would they govern and how would they legislate or propose legislation differently. The voters have a right to that. So I like the mute button.
Yeah, I think it could actually help Trump in some way, just letting Biden talk. But we will see at 9 p.m. tonight. Meantime, former President Barack Obama hits the trail for Joe Biden in Pennsylvania. Take a listen.
If we pour all our efforts into these 13 days, if we vote up and down the ticket like never before, then we will not only elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, we will also leave no doubt about what this country that we love stands for.
Leslie, as you know, President Obama did not put Hillary Clinton over the top. Do you think it's going to be different this time?
No, endorsements rarely do. I mean, you can have the biggest hitters, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, running in your party out there swinging for you, former presidents. You can have Hollywood stars. It's not going to really change. Again, most people have already made up their mind. A lot of people have already voted. It may get enthusiasm. Certainly people come out to see that individual, that star, whether they're political or Hollywood. But does it get them out to vote? That's really hard. You can motivate somebody to get real excited, but you can't go to their house, pick them up, and bring them to vote. I mean, you can, but obviously that's not going to do that.
Could drive them there.
They might get upset if you just randomly showed up at their home.
Leslie, let's take a look at this before we let you go. The recent Fox News poll with the battleground states, and you'll see Michigan here, Joe Biden with the lead. In Ohio, you can see President Trump with a slight edge there. Pennsylvania, though, Joe Biden up by 5 percentage points. In Wisconsin, going to Joe Biden right now, up 4%. We have Pennsylvania highlighted there. Joe Biden, obviously being from Delaware or living in Delaware, being from Scranton, Pennsylvania, he has spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania the last few months. We saw Barack Obama there last night. Do you think that they're trying to ensure a win in Pennsylvania? Do you think Pennsylvania is the most important state to them right now?
I don't think Pennsylvania is the most important. I think it's one of perhaps three of the most important that Democrats lost in 2016. Look, when I was sitting in the studios in the LA bureau before COVID, when we didn't work out of our homes, and basically, you know, I saw Hillary lose Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania. I mean, I knew it was over before it was called. And right now, even though those numbers show Joe Biden up, one, you can't just rely on the polls. We saw that in 2016. Two, this is going to be a very tight race. People talk about landslides on either side. I could go to Vegas saying it's not going to be a landslide for whoever wins. Pennsylvania is very important, but so is Michigan, so is Wisconsin. And of course, the typical Florida and Ohio are always in play. But there are other states in play more so now that are looked at as swing states more now than were in the past. Colorado is one example, and Georgia is even being looked at now as a swing state.
Well, we'll certainly be watching. We know you will, and we'll check out your article on foxnews.com when it comes out at 8 a.m. Leslie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Leslie.